I've laid the pallet up on its side. I'm going to hold the angle board right into the lines that I drew, and I'm just going to drill through the pallet into this board while I'm holding it in my hand. There's no chance of me hitting my hand because they're way up here and I'm only going in an inch. So I'll drill those holes on one, I'll bolt it down, I'll put the plywood in there and the other board so everything's nice and square, and then drill the other set of holes and then bolt it and it'll be done. So easy and fast, no measuring tape required. Woo! Alright, so first, gonna hold this up into the lines. So handy that we bothered to draw them. I got a drill bit. That's the size of the inside of the bolt, not the threads. I've already drilled the hole for the pallet, so I'm going to drill into the support board. Make sure that I didn't dork it up. I did dork it up. So I'm going to bolt that in. That's the good thing about this. I can mess up. Mess up a little bit, no big deal. Adapt, adjust. Now I'm holding the board on the other side tied against the pallet because I don't want a gap. I'm finishing this today because this morning I found deer scat in my chicken area, which is just next to the pig area. Now, I'm looking through here and going, this is right here. It's not exactly in the middle, but it's close enough that I'm not worried about it splitting it. So I'm going to keep drilling it. But if I wanted to, I could just move the drill down and over a little bit, drill a new hole. Big deal. Who cares? You know what? I'm going to do it. Brand new hole. No big deal. It's a big feeder. Don't get anal about it. Don't get all, it's got to be perfect. No, it's just got to hold green. Hopefully keeping it dry. And I didn't have to hold it this time because the other bolt is. If it looks like the pigs are putting too much stress on this, I'll actually come back and put a washer on it. I didn't pick up any washers yesterday, so I do not have them to install them. Putting the piece of plywood in place, and then the other slope board underneath it, lining it up where I want it to the barrel. Come in. Here. Huh. Guess that little bit of slop made everything off. With the added pressure of the added support of this piece of plywood right here, I can put more pressure on it. Meaning I'm securely where I want to be, and the board can't move out of the way like it did the first time. Remarkably, because the pallet is so light, it still doesn't weigh much more than a 55-gallon drum. Now all I got to do is put a 2x4 on the front here, and then cut the rubber mats for the top. and the outfeeders will be done. Then I have to build some kind of a pyramid inside of the barrel to force the feed from the middle out. Because all the feed that falls back in here would just sit there stagnant and it would have no reason to come this way. So I'm going to make a pyramid, basically, in the middle, or a V. I'll be back when I'm ready to move on. All right, I went and cut the floor mat. This one is 17 3/4 wide. My feeder area is 15 inches wide. And now what I want to do is match the curvature of the barrel on the mat with a pencil. So what I came up with, I took this nut driver, which has a fairly short shank, and with the nut driver flush against the barrel, I lined up both corners of the mat. And all I'm going to do is hold this pencil in the crotch of this and draw an arch while keeping the nut driver flush against the barrel. Will it be perfect? It'll be close. Pick feeder. Got a little off track there, so I'm going to go back the other way. All right, now I'm going to attempt to do this with a box cutter, which is what I cut it with. But if it doesn't work, I'm going to go get my oscillating multi-tool and bust this out. Well, it's been a while since that last cut. I worked on it and worked on it and worked on it to get the angle right of the barrel. Even though I used that guide, it was still a little bit shallow. So I cut and I cut, and then suddenly the mat was too short. It didn't hang over the end of the feeder here so they could get their snout underneath it. So I went and made 17 by 17 mats and used the successful arc from the one that became too short, and boom, laid it out. Now the other problem that I found is it's a bit stiff when I'm holding it back here, so I'm going to actually enlarge a hole for a lag bolt so that it will hinge but not slide down, and see how that works out. I'm hoping it works. Well, I tried a scroll saw, I tried an oscillating multi-tool. No, not on this rubber. So it's the box cutter. Let's get at it. So as I was cutting it, I angled the knife in. So the bottom is a little bit bigger because there's an angle on the feeder. Hold it like you're going to stab something. Not at first. First make a line. Basically, I put the pattern on top of this with my pencil. It's very hard to see even for me. But I guess my permanent markers all went inside. Plus the dirt on this would mess up my permanent marker, so. There, got my first line. The second cut. Make sure not to hold the blade up vertically, because then you're pulling through every layer of whatever rubber mat you find to do this with. I'm making sure my hands are not in line with where this blade would go if it let go and flew really fast. I kind of like my fingers the way they are. Almost there. All right, now that it's floppy, come in from the underside, follow the angle, boom, boom, boom. Whew. Done. I'll put this one up here. It's good. All right. So I actually want to have a little curve there. I'm going to put the bolts up here as high as I can. I'm going to use the same 1.5 by 1/4 by 1.5 lag bolts. They're going to be loose. This isn't really, it's not holding it tight, it's keeping it in place. Okay? I'm going to use a 5/16 drill bit, which is a 1/16 too big to start. Oh, wait a sec. I needed to get traction in the board, so my first drill will be one that's appropriate for the threads. Just want a 1/4. That looks like a 3/16. So I'm going to take a 3/16 hole. And drill it right there. Now I'm gonna do these one at a time because I'm thinking. So first, I drilled my hole for the wood. Then I'm going to use a bigger bit and drill a hole through the plastic to give the bolt room to move. Now if the bolt can't slide right through here, and it can't, that's not a big enough bit. So I'm going to go up to, from 5/16, I'm going to go to 3/8. I don't want it to be hugely sloppy, but it can't be tight for my hinge bolt to be a thing. All right, now I also want the bolt to be able to go forward like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind a little bit of a slope out of it. So when the pigs lift it, the bolt will allow it to occur. Line this up with a hole, which I should be able to clearly see. And my ratchet. I am definitely going to get some washers for this because it seems like the place where it'll stress out the most. Yeah, that is super easy and it doesn't come down. So that is exactly what I'm looking for. Nom 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 nom. Nom nom. Oh, nom nom nom. Works. Definitely going to need a little bit of a washer up there, but I think it'll be fine for the few days until I have to go back to town. All right, next thing we're going to build is the pyramid.